Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the #1 professional wrestling radio show in Las Vegas. This is the Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Going bell to bell with the best in professional wrestling news, entertainment, and lots of Sin City surprises from inside the squared circle. Now, let's get to all the exciting pro wrestling action and bring on the host. Here is Mark Hoke.
And we return to the Mark Hoke Show. I'm going to learn to speak English this hour and not lose my mind. Kids, it's been a long week. I'll tell you what. But thanks for joining us on KDAWN 101.5 FM, the talk of Las Vegas. Best station in town. We love it. And, of course, we are streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and X. And on that Odyssey app, if you haven't downloaded the app, AUDACY, go get it. You don't need it now, but sometime down the road. You know, maybe you want to listen to the show again or check out all of our great programming on KDAWN or, you know, throughout the Odyssey family. We would certainly appreciate that. So just go into your app store and AUDACY, bam, done. You got it. And America's a greater place. That's just how it works. I'm Mark Hoke. Thanks for being with us. Phil Stamper joining us, of course, from PWRevolver, and does this great independent wrestling calendar and is just a hell of a terrific American. And, of course, he is the president of wrestling. I still want to see the vote counts. Where are the ballots, Phil?
Oh, they're exactly where they need to be.
And hermetically sealed on Funkin' Waggle's porch, right?
There you go. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we're very happy to have you along for the ride, Phil. Again, we love having you on the show. And, of course, a lot happening in WWE as we get ready for SummerSlam. Before I get into SummerSlam, though, I did want to touch on one thing that's going on in there. And it is the most sympathetic group of psychopaths that we may ever see in pro wrestling, the Wyatt Six. Last week, we had a promo with Bo Dallas on his little videotape, and now we got one from Eric Rowan. And if you're not familiar with the Wyatt Six, of course, the ode to Bray Wyatt, Wyndham Rotunda, who passed away. Bo Dallas is playing Uncle Howdy, brought that character back, which they were getting rolling before Bray passed away. And then it's Nikki Cross, Eric Rowan, Dexter Lumis, Joe Gacy. We're still waiting for a sixth person. Don't know if it's going to be Alexa Bliss for sure, but I had an idea. I'll talk about that after we get through this. But, of course, they decided to beat up Chad Gable again. But the promo that they cut with Eric Rowan this week, did that make you cry, Phil? Did that get a tear in your eye? Just a little. Because Eric, of course, is talking about how he lost Brody Lee and then how he lost Wyndham Rotunda. And just, you know, that's so gut-wrenching to hear that. And you had Bo Dallas doing his, where he was talking about losing his brother. How are you going to hate these guys? I mean, no matter what they do. And you're going to hear some stuff from Nikki Cross, I'm sure. And I'm curious to hear what Gacy and Lumis have to say. But how can you not feel for these people?
I mean, they're also not utilizing them in a way to put them in as the bad guys right now. They're going up against Chad Gable, who, like, they've made the guy you want to punch in the face. So I feel like this is the right spot to garner that sympathy. And then, you know what? Later, kick all of us in the teeth. Like that, you know, do something so dastardly that we're all going to really be conflicted. You know, the best part of wrestling is when you start feeling the emotion of it. And to feel, you know, this is a real life situation that, you know, with the passing of Wyndham Rotunda and using some of the real feelings that they have about it is telling such a beautiful story and a sympathetic story. You want to feel for this. And because they were talked about for so long, like you said, even before Wyndham passed away, that they were all going to come up and band back together. Now it's there, and so fans are excited about it because they feel like it's delivering a promise that was given to them. And so I think it's great.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see where they're all going to take this. And, I hope they have an end point for this that is going to make sense. That's the only thing I get worried about, is that it's going to end up meandering somewhere and just kind of peter out. So I hope that they have a planned place to finish this out in a couple of years, where the ode to Wyndham Rotunda is going to have a crescendo and you're going to feel it. And it's not something that's just going to taper off into nothing. So, but I really felt like, man, I was watching Eric and I just wanted to make sure that we talked about it, because it just tore me up a little bit inside, just knowing how close he was to those two. And, but this is going to be entertaining. But I have an idea for the sixth person.
Okay.
You know why they're going after Chad Gable? They want Otis. They want Otis. I don't think it's going to happen, but
right.
Wouldn't that be intriguing if Otis ended up being the sixth person, abused and left behind by Mandy Rose, and then beat up by Chad Gable, the man that it was his coach and his friend, and shunned by everybody? Wouldn't that be interesting?
I could see. I could imagine that, but you're right. I don't think they're going to go in that direction, but that gives you something to think about.
Turn Otis to the dark side. It would kill one of my best friends, Chad Holloway, who's from Wisconsin. He loves Otis, but it would be an interesting turn for him. Just throwing it out there. Just a thought, WWE creative. Not that they don't have this thing planned out months ahead of time, but still.
Right.
Just saying. SummerSlam coming up, Phil. 2 weeks away. I can't believe it. And we had two more matches added to this card. One both of them we knew were coming. But Mommy's back. She's mad. But Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley, along with Dominic Mysterio, have done an unbelievable job building this thing up. How much fun is this Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley match going to be at SummerSlam? I can't wait.
It would only be more fun if they had Dominic Mysterio in a shark cage over the ring.
Yes.
I'm just saying. Are we not there yet?
I don't know, but they've been doing some neat little things, paying homage to the Eddie Guerrero China thing, which, it's just cool. I love when they slide those little things in there that, pay respect to the past. But Liv and Rhea have done such a great job. I mean, Liv has really won me over. I was always kind of, Liv Morgan. This time she's got it right. And this match is going to have this crowd in Cleveland going nuts. And I don't know what Dominic's going to do, but I would give him a suggestion. Run and hide, Dominic. Run and hide. Maybe find a third girlfriend.
Ooh, no. Don't. That's a little overcomplicating.
He could date Jade Cargill. He'd be safe. Just throwing it out there.
Put my hands up and walk away on that one.
There you go. There you go. Logan Paul's going to take on LA Knight for the U.S. title. And all I'm going to say is LA Knight better win this match. He better win this match. Because if LA Knight does not win this match, he's going to be headed for a little bit of mid-card obscurity. I hate to say it. Huge match for LA Knight coming up at SummerSlam. Do you think that this is the time for LA to finally get this belt?
It would be nice. I have this weird sense of they might not do that, because this has just been my feeling all along. LA Knight is one of those guys that he got over, and WWE responded and kind of like, okay, we're going to give you some more opportunities, but guess what? You're not our guy. You're not the one that we picked and selected to be the guy. So we're going to give you some rewards and sprinkles here and there, but you're not going to be the champion. And that's just how I feel they're playing it off a little bit. So unfortunately, I feel like, he is going to, I won't say go into really like mid-card obscurity. But I feel like they're trying to ride him on the same story that they did with Daniel Bryan, right? But he doesn't really have that same voice in that same way. He can't talk about being kept down by the man, and you feel it because you're the underrepresented hero. You're not really feeling that with LA Knight. You want LA Knight to be grand. You want him to be The Rock. You want him to be the next guy. But I feel like because he isn't going to be the next guy, they're not putting that energy behind him. So it might not happen.
I think putting him as the U.S. champion would be a pretty good spot for him because I feel like, the chants got going and everything got ramped up, after they ditched the whole stupid maximum male models thing. But I just feel like there's something that's just a little bit missing with him. And I think it's just that championship pedigree in WWE. They put him up against Roman a little too early, and I think it took the shine off him. That's what I was worried about when they made that match back at Crown Jewel a while back. So I think they need to give him a chance to, putting the U.S. title on him, letting him roll with that for a little bit would probably be a good move. Logan can do other things. He's busier than anybody in WWE. So, he can send me some more Prime, come over to the station, give me a hydration station. I'll drink it all day long like I always do, and everybody will be happy. And by the way, in the chat box, David Rich says, "What's up? What's up to you?" And hey to the Bionic Scoop. Very happy to have you guys in the chat box. And if you want to have any comments on anything that we have to say, we would love to hear from you. Give us your thoughts on what's going on. We were talking the first hour about Slammiversary. Have any thoughts on that? What's coming up Summerslam and anything else we throw out? Feel free to hit us with it. We'd love to see it. Justin Donahue in the chat box saying, "Hello, gentlemen." Well, it's loosely said, but thank you. Appreciate it.
we even like the posts, like the fact that you've seen the post about the show is on air right now. Click like, share it. That would be really nice. But
yeah.
Clicking like doesn't cost you anything. And it would be so appreciated.
Yes, we do. So thank you for hopping in there. So SummerSlam coming up, and still waiting for a bunch of matches. We've only got 5 on the card at this point. But one thing that I'm really curious to hear your thoughts about here, Phil, because the situation with Cody Rhodes and Damian Priest are 2 world champions. Do you feel like Cody and Damian are getting kind of pushed down a little bit? Damian's reign has been completely overshadowed by Punk and McIntyre. I mean, completely. From the second it started until right now, and unfortunately had the missed kick out, which didn't help. But Cody is in a weird place because right now, even though he's in this feud with the Bloodline, everybody's waiting for Roman to come back. What's Roman coming back? What's he going to do? And I almost feel like Cody is suffering because of this. And Roman better get back at SummerSlam and kind of get this sorted out, because I think the champ's getting hurt. This better be a hell of a match coming up at SummerSlam with Solo Sikoa. And I'm even wondering, how does Solo come out on this? Does Roman cost him the match so we get the like a double Bloodline feud and get him away from Cody? But I don't know. I feel like Cody's just been getting lost a little bit in the shuffle too. Do you feel that way?
I do feel that way, and I feel bad for feeling that way. On the Damian Priest side, I've loved Damian Priest since he was on the Independents, and when he went up to WWE, I'm like, this is great, and we started giving more and more attention. I'm like, this is great. He cashes in Money in the Bank. This is amazing. And now there's like sort of a ... like I'm waiting for something to load. And I feel bad for that because I know what he can do.
Yeah.
I feel like there's been some odd starts, but you're right. I think part of that is too, was lost in that Drew McIntyre, CM Punk, Seth Rollins deal and that feud. And it was almost like you were paying more attention to that than Damian Priest being the champion. Okay. That's fine. Let that story play out. And, now he's going to be over here with Gunther, who has gotten so much attention himself now that he's coming for this championship. I feel like Damian Priest is the guy they want, but not the champion they need.
That's a good way to put it. And I feel like this reign is going to come to an end for him. Mm-hmm. Gunther's going to win somehow, but I think there's going to be, going to be the point where the Judgment Day implodes. So I have a feeling something's going to happen with Finn Balor taking him out and costing him the title.
Right.
But and that's going to be the end to a reign for a great wrestler and a great guy who should have been a great champion. And I hope he'll get another shot down the road. But he's going to be blocked by one side, Cody Rhodes, and the whole thing with Roman and the bloodline and the Rock hanging around. And on the other side, you got to imagine at some point Punk and McIntyre, and they're saying Seth Rollins may end up being a special referee for that match if Punk does get cleared. So he's gonna get shoved down the cart, and obviously if Finn does something, they're going to be fighting for a while. So off you go. I mean, this is tough.
Well, I was at the Bloodline Judgment Day. Is having the problem that a lot of heel teams get in wrestling. This is not a unique WWE problem where, oh gosh, they're such a serious, diabolical team. Oh, now they're the comedy fodder. Now we're laughing at them. Now we're making fun of them. So I feel like the end is nigh for Judgment Day. It's coming. And I feel bad for that. I think it's a great pairing of individuals. But it's always been a little bit too when they added Dominic Mysterio, I'm like, this is not the fit. Even though he's involved in the storyline with Rhea, this isn't the right thing. And now the whole gang is in on making the joke about Dominic. And then, Damian Priest is our champion. It's like, this is a lot for one group to be dealing with when they were supposed to be the maniacal masterminds. And well, now you have the Wyatt Six who've kind of come in and replaced it. Now they're the diabolical team, but they're also the sympathetic team, so they're not the mayhem yet. It's all over the place. But that's also one of the good things about WWE is that anybody at any point can become champion, and you can believe it, that person can be champion because they develop such intricacy inside of some of these storylines.
Yeah, I feel bad for Priest, and once again, and like I said, I think the situation with Cody is going to get a little bit messed up too. But we're waiting for a Viper to strike for that, which I almost wonder if that shouldn't be the WrestleMania match, because I have a feeling that because here's where the Rock getting involved has created a little bit of a mess. Mm-hmm. Because you were screaming, Rock Roman is the match. Rock Roman is the end all be all. Everybody wants this match. Okay, so if you give me Rock Roman, where does that leave Cody Rhodes? What does that do with him? So I kind of am almost thinking that maybe they should pull an audible and let it be Cody and Randy at SummerSlam or at WrestleMania, and then do Rock Roman. And, you've got two really good main events, and then whatever you're going to do have this Punk McIntyre, Seth Rollins, Triorca going crazy. Plus, if Gunther wins the world championship, who's going after Gunther? That's going to be, that's not a bad card. I mean, I'll take that at the top.
I'm curious where they're going to go with it because, again, we also have the advantage of WrestleMania being a 2-day event that you could have Roman and Rock night 1 and Cody and the winner of Rock Roman night 2. Maybe I'm not saying that, who knows what they have planned for that because there is so much up top right now. I feel like somewhere there in that mix, though, CM Punk wants a chance. So it's sort of like, what if you did Cody versus CM Punk and then The Rock versus Roman for the head of the bloodline? Because I feel like Solo, they've not now built up the bloodline without Roman. Well, now the story is going to be when Roman comes back, who is really the head of the table? And okay, here's Roman again. Oh, wait a minute. But was he really the head of the table the whole time? Here's The Rock. And so I think that might still be the match you'll get at Mania with or without the championship.
Yeah, this is this SummerSlam. And that's why this Cody and Solo match and how this turns out is going to be a fascinating time to see where, if Roman shows up, which I think he's going to. I don't think they can hold him back anymore, but you never know. They might, but it is the biggest party of the summer. I can't imagine Roman Reigns is going to miss it. You know, he likes a good drink, so I think he'll be there. But this could be an unbelievable run here at SummerSlam with all these titles. And you know, if Punk gets cleared, and they're saying that he's about a week away. Oh, so we might finally get that Punk McIntyre match, and all hell's going to break loose there. So SummerSlam's shaping up to be a lot of fun. And I see Justin Donnie in the chat box said I'm more hyped for Priest and Gunther. Man, I would be too if it wasn't for all this surrounding it. But because I love Gunther so much, I'm down with the big man. So we'll see how that turns out. But one thing that we do have to turn out is the lights for a moment and go to a commercial break. Because if I don't, I get in trouble. So stick around, everybody. We'll be right back here on the Mark Hoke Show, the best in pro wrestling news and entertainment. I want to thank you for joining us from wherever you are around the world. We do appreciate it. Phil Stamper at Trust and Phil. Go give him a follow on X right now. Because if not, you are a loser and will perennially not be a happy person. Stick around, everybody. We'll be right back.
PSA.
101.5 FM KDAWN. This is the Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Here again, your host, Mark Hoke.
All right, let's get back to it. As we continue, hour number 2 of the best in pro wrestling news and entertainment, the Mark Hoke Show here on KDAWN 101.5 FM. Streaming on the Odyssey app. And, of course, we are out there on YouTube, Facebook, and X. And, of course, Phil Stamper along for the ride. Well, what's going on in PWRevolver right now, my friend? Crazy times for your organization, having a blast out there on the circuit.
I mean, it is. It's a lot of fun. We have a doubleheader that's coming up on August 24th out in Dayton, Ohio. So 2 events, one in the afternoon, more of a wrestle pit style, a little bit more of the UWFI style kind of fight that you're going to see, and then an evening event. And then we return to Iowa in September on the 21st. And then October 12th, we're back in Grand Prairie, Texas. So a lot of stuff is coming up for Revolver. We're going to also be part of a large convergence event of a whole bunch of different promotions in Cleveland on SummerSlam weekend. So pay attention to a lot of the things that are happening. You can follow Revolver online at PWRevolver.
When are you coming here, Phil? When?
I don't know. I've been thinking about it. I mean, because, not like anything big is coming or happening in Vegas anytime soon.
All right. So it's WrestleMania. I want Revolver out here sooner, though.
I mean, maybe we can figure out something. How about that? We come up with a plan.
Okay.
We'll just make everybody else follow the plan.
There you go. I'm down with that. Take charge. That's what we do. You are the president of wrestling, so, put the stamp on it, man. That's how it works. Well, we had a very interesting happening on the political front this week. And got some, shall we say, up and down reaction on social media as the former,
yes, let's say that.
the former WWE WWF champion Hulk Hogan spoke at the Republican National Committee or convention this week. I watched the speech and had to say the Hulkster had him going.
Right.
He had everybody pumped up. There wasn't any doubt about that. And I was, pumping my fist with the Hulkster, man. He's ripping the shirt off, having a great time, inspired some funny memes. I saw a great one, by the way, where someone had changed the Trump Vance shirt to a Biden Harris shirt and put the NWO beard stubble on him. It was hilarious. Yeah. It's like, whose side is he really on? So you're
giving away what's going to happen at the Democratic National Convention.
that was kind of funny, but it was, the RNC convention was very different this year. They kind of turned it up a little bit and had a little fun this year instead of being all stuck up and stodgy like it normally is. But I think it raised a bigger question to me. And I'm somebody who was a huge fan of Hulk Hogan when I was a kid. And, and he was actually the one that really inspired me. I know I don't look it now, but, back then I was kind of a shy kid that got picked on a lot and was chunky and, just had a lot going on at home too. And Hulk Hogan really was my inspiration to get back into sports, to start working out, and, really changed my life,
Yeah.
And of course, became the subject of controversy, had those taped racial comments get out. And, it really shattered a lot of people's thoughts about Hulk Hogan. And no matter what, he's been a controversial figure from people saying what they've said about him, where he's, kind of put himself over in different situations that have happened in locker rooms and so on.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But he recently found Christ and has been trying to get a positive message out. And I wanted to ask you, and I'm going to be interested to see what the reaction is in the chat box, because he has tried to make amends. Is it time to forgive Hulk Hogan? Is it time to say, you know what, you screwed up, you said some dumb things, he's 70 years old, let it go, or do we not let it go? And there were some passionate feelings on both sides on social media when he spoke. I mean, either way. So, Phil, I'm curious to hear your thoughts about that, because he's a beloved figure, but a hated figure in the same time in pro wrestling. And I'm just wondering, is it time to just celebrate what he did and let the rest of it slide?
So the character of Hulk Hogan is what people like. Terry Bollea is not who people like. And that whole blending of the world and, how much more we're out there in social media. And, yes, that was captured footage. And it was, to me, yes, it was wrong. He said it, that he said what he said, even though it was a private conversation. I will say, I think WWE has forgiven him. I mean, he's been on 2 or 3 WrestleManias since all of this happened. And the question I have, though, is, has he really tried to make amends? Because the time he got brought back into the back in WWE and he talked to the locker room, he didn't really own the comments. He didn't really take responsibility for them. It was more like, yeah, you need to pay attention. I can't remember the wording, but it felt like more like he was taking responsibility for getting caught on being recorded than he was really taking ownership of what he really said. I feel like there was an interview where he's like, that's not what I really meant. That, I was emotional in the moment. Okay, I get that. I totally understand that. I don't know if he's made amends. That the one part of your whole question, I don't know if he's there. But I think the wrestling community in many ways has. That's not apologizing or forgetting what he said. But I think a lot of the wrestling community has, because WWE has brought him back out a couple of times since then too. So I don't think. Part of me is like, you go either way. I think it's very challenging as an individual to go, here's my political following and here's where I'm going. I think for any public person, that it's a very dangerous step to take, because then are you disenfranchising half of the audience that follows you because, you didn't, quote, pick my side. So I think that's more of the rough spot. I agree with you. I thought what he said was very passionate. I thought what he said, you're right, it rallied that crowd up. It got him energized and excited because it was a Hulk Hogan promo. It wasn't Terry Bollea.
Yeah, it was, and I will say on his part, it took a lot of guts to do that, because as you mentioned, it is very difficult for someone who is in the public eye to step out, and it's not something that I recommend for people to do. When you're an entertainer, there's ways you can do it without going over the line and going crazy with it, but it's a risk. It's a risk of alienating half of your audience, especially the way times are right now. So, it was a bold move on everybody's parts to put him up there. And I was curious to see how everyone was going to react in the wrestling community to it, and, and just people in general. And like I said, it was about what I expected. It was about what I expected. Some people were taking pot shots and some people were absolutely loving every second of it. So,
right.
And, I can never condone what he said. I remember when I heard it and it crushed me. It really did. I don't know if he really feels that way in his heart or not, if that's who he truly is. I've never met the man, but what a slip up. But
I take a little bit, when I think of the man, I don't think of Hulk Hogan. When I think of the man, there's a lot of things that have come out over time that you're like, is this really where you want to be? And I'm not even talking about the locker room, about how he quote protected the name of Hulk Hogan, but like his son goes to jail for almost killing somebody, and the way he talked to his kid about it was sort of very dismissive of the person who got hurt. And it's sort of like, that tells me a little bit more about the character of the person. What he's done in his relationship is his business too, but that's been very public. I mean, and remember who he was talking to in that recording too, leads to some questionable behavior about the character of Terry Bollea.
Yeah.
So I think people who go, I loved Hulk Hogan for what he did and what it meant to my childhood. Great. That's Hulk Hogan, not Terry.
Yeah.
Terry's a very different subject.
Yes, he is. So there you go. We wanted to bring it up because it made national news. So Hulk Hogan running wild at the RNC. I don't know if there's somebody to counter that. I'm sure there is, but I don't know if anybody else would have the guts to do it. The
Rock?
No, he already said he's out of this one. He said he is not getting involved, and he caught hell for that too. He made everybody mad on that one. That was, and that was, I thought that was a mistake when he did it too, when he came out for Biden in the last election. That caused him to catch grief from everybody. And then this time around, he didn't hear. He said, I'm not taking sides. And then everybody's mad at him because he didn't take a side. Probably was just best to say, you know what? I'm Dwayne. I'm just going to hang out. That's what I do. So I can jump. I've been jumping on Dwayne's case enough as is over the past couple of months to, how's Hawaii? But anyway, anyway, but I'll tell you what, we're going to take our last break. And when we come back, we've got more fun wrestling news for you. So stick around, having a great time with Phil Stamper here on the Mark Hoke Show at Trust and Phil. Give him a follow right now, or the Boogeyman's going to get you at Halloween. Stick around, everybody. We'll be right back.
FM KDAWN. You're listening to the #1 professional wrestling radio show in Vegas, The Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Now, here again is Mark Hoke.
All right, let's do this one more time. The best pro wrestling news and entertainment on the planet. Thanks for being with us on the Mark Hoke Show. Very happy to have you joining us. And yes, I'm tired. It's been a long, long week. I would appreciate if nobody else gets shot or we have no conventions. Can we all avoid that for just a while? That would be great. Thanks. Phil Stamper along with us. How you doing, Phil?
Well, it was funny as you were saying that because I whapped my elbow really good on the corner of my desk. So I'm holding my arm. And I just realized, I was like, nobody can see me because we're on the radio unless you're watching on YouTube.
Right.
So there was a face I just made there.
I thought you were laughing at me.
There, yes, entirely.
There you go. Yes. You had an excuse. I stumbled coming out of the open there. So
all good.
All good.
So speaking of stumbling really quick, it looks like Sky Blue is injured.
Yeah.
I missed some of the talk about from yesterday. But apparently this morning, about 30 minutes ago, Kyle Fletcher posted on his Twitter account. We got her home. She's good, but her leg is wrapped in a cast. So. Oh,
wow. That was pretty bad last night. She got injured in her match on Collision last night against Hikaru Shida. They actually had to stop the match. So we may have a broken leg or something along that line. Yikes.
Yeah.
So want to wish all the best to Sky Blue. And apparently another member of the AEW family is down as Dalton Castle, one of my favorites. I love Dalton. Is apparently going to be out for the rest of the year, according to Tony Khan. So we lose Dalton Castle. And, man, I would love seeing the Peacock it all in, but I never get what I want. It's so sad. But I want to wish all the best to Dalton Castle, one of my personal favorites. But a couple of guys are going to be flying around for sure, and it sounds like they're going to be in WWE, the Motor City Machine Guns. It only took 20 years, but apparently they are headed to WWE. And Phil, I know you have a lot of experience with these guys, and of course have been staples of TNA forever. But now they are finally stepping onto the WWE stage. What do you think, Phil? At least that's the rumor.
Right, and that's just it. It's a rumor. Because remember, 2-3 months ago, it was that they were going to AEW, and that was verified and all confirmed. So now I'm in the air. I don't know where they're going for sure, because they're not showing up either place right now. I believe it was West Coast Pro was where Alex Shelley was last night. I think I saw. So it's sort of like, well, where are they going? Have they really been offered anything? And I think they're doing the right thing by not saying anything. Let the world conjecture. Let the world, ask questions. Let the world be interested in what their next step is. So whatever it is, people are paying that much more attention.
I'll be happy for them either way. I mean, obviously we have seen them on AEW TV a little bit, but I think it would be great to have them get a sustained run in one of the two companies. But WWE would be very intriguing for them because, I mean, if you think about even 5 or 6 years ago, they are not a WWE style tag team. Vince would never have signed those guys. But with Triple H in charge, they are an intriguing mix to the WWE tag team scene if they do come in. And obviously they've both proven that they are great singles wrestlers as well. So I think you would be pleasantly surprised to see the Motor City Machine Guns if they got in a WWE ring. What do you think? What do you think of the match? I mean, is it a good fit?
I do think. I mean, I've seen. I would say in the last year, I've seen a little bit more of Alex Shelley than I have Chris Sabin. But watching Alex Shelley, he can adjust to the situation. He is a tremendous wrestler. He's an extremely knowledgeable wrestler. To watch him interact with other people to show them how to improve their game and how they can step up and coach other people too. And these are people with, like you said, 20 years of experience at TNA means that they have 20 years of television experience. So they can adjust a lot easier to being on a production than, the next guy over who hasn't had that opportunity to be on television yet. And so I think it could be an easy adjustment. I think you're in an age now where, yes, I think they would be a perfect fit for what's happening in the WWE.
Yeah, especially with most of the tag teams in WWE are kind of makeshift teams. Having those two guys in there, I think, would be a lot of fun to truly showcase some outstanding tag team wrestling because those guys are just ridiculously good. So I would love to see them in WWE. I feel like going to AEW for them, it would be a lot of the same matches we've seen. So it would be a unique challenge for Alex and Chris to go over to WWE and get in that mix. I would be thrilled to see them make that jump. A couple of guys who are actually, I don't know if you heard this, this was just coming over, that the Hardys apparently have said they want to challenge for the NXT Tag Team Championships. They've never won them, and they were talking to Bill Apter on one of his shows, and they want a shot at the NXT tag titles. Would WWE have the guts to have the Hardys come over and possibly continue the Expedition of Gold in NXT? What do you think?
I'm interested in that. I'm intrigued in that. I would love to see that. I mean, again, they're two guys who've been in the WWE system for a long time. They know how that works over there. They're friends with a lot of people over there. I mean, well, I'll just showcase something that they did. They went to AEW, and in that whole run of Impact versus AEW, they were making fun of Impact and it wasn't really like a hidden that they had some didn't care for where Impact was at the time. And now, different administration. Now they're over in TNA. They're doing what they're doing over there. Why not go back to NXT while they're doing this crossover thing? I don't think there's ill will per se. at the WWE with the Hardys. So why not? Let's do it.
It's amazing how things get forgiven very quickly in professional wrestling, and all the problems that somebody's had to just get forgotten.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, it all disappears. So I think that would be entertaining. I would enjoy seeing the Hardys popping up in NXT. I kind of feel like they've been pushing it for a long, long time and hanging on, but I would get a kick out of that.
Yeah.
Now, whether I put the belts on them or not, a little bit of a different story, but you know, they've already been kind of messing around. Oh God, could you imagine if they won the Impact titles and the TNA titles and the NXT titles and pulled that Expedition of Gold thing again? Oh God.
I'm excited by that. I think that would be really cool if they could do it.
Yeah. I mean, people love the guys, so we'll check that out. Maybe we'll get some more Hardy action on NXT. There was another interesting situation that happened this week on Smackdown, and I hate when they do this. I hate it so much. Tiffany Stratton, who of course won the Money in the Bank case, loses to Meechin thanks to a Bailey distraction. Please, Phil, for the love of God, tell me that they're not going to do this thing where they gave somebody a Money in the Bank case and they're going to lose and lose and lose. It's Tiffany Stratton, someone you've been building up, and everybody thinks she's amazing. God, they're not going to put her on a losing streak, are they, Phil?
Well, you know that I think they oversold a little bit too much. That pretty much every time you cash in a Money in the Bank, you win. And so you know I think they're trying to directly go, we're not going to do that. We're going to show you something different. I feel like that's why they did Drew McIntyre so fast. Was we don't want him to hold this for a year where we're listing in the unknown of when is he going to cash it in, and then feeling like we have to do it. And now you have a year without a male Money in the Bank holder. So I think, you might see this loss and loss. And we've seen this before, loss and loss and loss and loss. And then finally they win. And they lose until they win. I don't like it, but I feel like it's probably something you're going to see.
No, not with her. That would drive me nuts.
Yeah.
That would drive me nuts, especially after you've buried people like Naomi and so on along the road here to get her hyped up. Oh, that would be just a terrible, terrible decision. But you know what? I'm not the booker, so it is what it is. By the way, we got mentioned too, we also have new trios champions in AEW as the Patriarchy. Christian and Kill Switch and Nick Wayne have the new trios champions. I don't know how that all came about. It was very weird, but yeah, so new trios champs in AEW. So even though Christian can't stand me, congratulations to Christian Cage and the boys as they have the new AEW trios champions. Phil, tell us what you've got going on as we get ready to wrap up the show. What's new with you, and what are we working on right now?
Do you see this crutch on the wall behind me? That's what I'm doing. So I'm doing a lot of rehab. But August 3rd, Three Legacies Wrestling, ran by Ricardo Rodriguez, will be there. August 10th is MCW in Joppa, Maryland. August 17th is Honorary Wrestling Federation in Pennsylvania. And then the 24th is Wrestling Revolver in Dayton, Ohio.
Wow. That's a lot of stuff. How are you getting around, man?
I can try. I can get there fine. Once I get there, standing up is the problem.
So have you taken my suggestion and figure out a way to hit somebody with that crutch yet?
Oh, I already have plans to wrap it in barbed wire and knock the crap out of somebody.
Oh, who's that?
You have to wait and see.
Okay. All right. That's fair. That's fair. Of course, if you didn't know, Phil had knee surgery just a couple of weeks ago, so he is going crazy at home trying to recover, but sounds like you're going to be back out on the road soon. So we're very excited that to get the president of wrestling back in action. Well, actually, I think some people are excited. Some people maybe not so much, but
yeah. There's not a lot of people there's some people who have problems when they see me coming their way.
Yeah, it's all good. Well, we're always happy to see you coming our way on the Mark Hoke Show. And want to thank you for joining us today. I appreciate you taking the time out, Phil. Follow him at Trust in Phil. And we're going to be wrapping it up here. I want to thank everybody who joined us. And once again, take some time out and give us some likes and follows, subscribes on our social media at Mark Hoke Show on X. That's the obviously the X account. And, of course, on YouTube at The Mark Hoke Show, Facebook, The Mark Hoke Show, markhokeshow.com. Podcasts are available at markhokeshow.podbean.com as well. We're everywhere, kids, but just, give us a few clicks, give us a few subscriptions. We would certainly appreciate it. Tell your friends, neighbors, even your pets, anybody, because they'll enjoy our great show talking about pro wrestling here every week on KDAWN 101.5 FM. So on behalf of Phil Stamper, thanks for joining us, everybody. We will see you next week as we get ready for SummerSlam coming up 2 weeks away. Should be a blast. We'll see you next time on The Mark Hoke Show.
Want more of The Mark Hoke Show? Follow us on Twitter at Mark Hoke Show, like us on Facebook at The Mark Hoke Show, and visit markhokeshow.com to keep up with everything happening with the show. And remember to check out all of our archive shows on YouTube at The Mark Hoke Show and download our podcasts at markhokeshow.podbean.com and all your favorite podcast outlets. So join The Mark Hoke Show family today, and thanks for listening.